Thank you for calling the Venue Helpline, the podcast where venues share their biggest frustrations, toughest challenges, and behind the scenes headaches. If you run a venue or work at one and you've ever thought, why is this so hard? You're in the right place. Each week, you'll hear practical solutions from vetted experts who've been there, done that, and know what actually works. Because running a venue is hard enough. You shouldn't have to figure it out alone. Now, let me put you on a brief hold for the next available helper.
Hey there, it's Ian with the Venue Help Desk. Tell me, what's going on at your venue?
Sometimes I get so caught up in the day-to-day of running a venue, chasing leads, booking tours, taking care of clients, that I forget to celebrate the wins. Like, we'll hit a sales goal or pull off an incredible event, and then boom, we're right back into the grind. I know we're doing good work, but it's hard to feel it when everything moves so fast. Do you have any ideas for how we can actually track our progress better and make time to celebrate the good stuff without it feeling like another task on the to-do list?
Ooh, I feel you, especially this time of year. And as we're heading into our busiest of seasons, it can seem like we're constantly running from one task to the next. We're chasing leads, we're running tours, prepping for engagement season, which is so hard to believe that's right around the corner, handling clients and managing events without ever pausing to appreciate what's been accomplished. And it's really easy to lose sight of any progress that you've made when everything is moving so fast and the next deadline, the next email you need to respond to, the next event is on the horizon. But I'm here to tell you that celebrating your wins isn't fluff. It's really what keeps your team motivated. That's what I've learned over my 8 years here at my venue. It helps you reinforce strong habits, and it helps you recognize real growth and potential instead of living in this constant what's next mode. And I know this is a really important topic for a lot of venues to listen today. So I hope a lot of venues that are tuning in are taking some good notes, because when your event cycle never slows down, when you're constantly doing events and you're constantly making sure that the next person and next client is taken care of, you're not ever focusing on yourself. You're not taking that moment to self-reflect. And that reflection feels optional, right? It gets pushed down to the bottom of our to-do list. But when wins go undocumented, you and your team really forget how much you've actually achieved. Even a thriving venue can feel like it's standing still. And as you mentioned, your team starts to feel burned out. And you end up not tracking or celebrating anything because it feels like extra work. It's not something that's actually giving you joy, or it's not energizing you or your managers or any of your team members. So I'm going to give a little bit of insight, some solutions, some talking points that you can think of to help track your progress as it comes to your tours and your wins, maybe some reviews, and how we can be intentional about calling out those wins and celebrating with your team. The first thing that I want you to do is I want you to make your wins visible. And for us, when it relates to sales or weddings sold or tours converted into sales, we have a war board at our venue. So in our sales office at Madera Estates, we have this visible tracker of all of the tours that we've hosted, as well as the tours that are converting into sales. And it's really giving us that daily and weekly review of the status of inquiries and tours and contracts signed, the weddings that we've sold, specific dates that we want to move. And it really allows your sales team specifically to keep this at the forefront of their mind, to make sure that we are driven by revenue, that we are driven by our data. And it's really not a whole lot of work. It's a simple way to make sure that this is front and center of everybody's mind. It's a great way that you can track progress on a regular basis. Now, as it relates to our event management team, we do what we call a 5-star review alert. And what we do on a monthly basis is I'll go back and look at any of the reviews that I have received at our venue, and I'll send out a mass email to the entire Madera Estates team. I'll list the email or emails, who the review was from, and then I'll be sure to give out a kudos or shout out to anybody's name, particularly our wedding coordination team, our banquet staff, our bartenders, and really thank them, recognizing their hard work. So speaking of recognition, my second point is really to make sure that you build a culture at your venue of establishing and showing recognition. And to do that, we end each of our weekly meetings with some good and welfare. And this is essentially where the team has the opportunity to share any win, big or small. Maybe it was that we had a wedding this past weekend where the timeline went off without a hitch. We weren't running behind. Or we had a really big wedding where they spent a lot of money. They needed white glove service. And it's really just a great opportunity to lift up your team members on a regular basis. Now, when it comes to my heart of house team, that's what we call our back of house, my banquet staff, we have our Caught in the Act initiative, which is something that you can steal. We use it for our banquet staff and bartenders, and it's an opportunity for our managers really to spotlight anybody who went above and beyond during an event. And essentially what we do is the managers will get together at the weekly meeting following the previous weddings the weekend before, and we'll identify if there was anybody that went above and beyond, and we'll give them a small gift card, usually $5. And at the end of the month, anybody who won a Caught in the Act that month can be entered to spin a prize wheel. The last thing that I want to make sure that you do is include both measurable and meaningful successes. You're redefining what a win is. So again, this could be a smooth setup, happy clients, creative solutions. Maybe you have a problem at your venue that a team member came to the table and said, hey, why don't we do XYZ? Or they implemented a new process that improved your teamwork. Just know that a win doesn't always have to be related to revenue on selling weddings or related to a happy client. It can be something as simple as improving a process. Lastly, I want to make sure that you're making recognition a part of your routine. When you're celebrating consistently, your team really starts to see the value in these everyday moments that keep your venue thriving. I think it's really important. It helps your venue build morale, accountability, and really pride, a lot of ownership in their roles without adding a whole lot of work onto your workload. So the more that you can systemize celebrating your wins, the more that you can put it into a routine, I think the easier it is for you. Now, the last tip I have for you is I want to make sure you're tracking your progress, especially when it comes to your conversion rates. So you ask for better ways that you can track your progress. And for me, oftentimes it comes down to really monitoring your lead to tour and tour to sale conversion rates. And you're going to want to do this on a monthly basis, really to spot where you're gaining or losing any sort of traction. Now, in order to do this appropriately, you really want to first set some monthly goals. Define clear monthly targets for the number of inquiries that you want, the number of tours and bookings. That way, everybody has a baseline understanding. And at the end of the day, it's a numbers game to help you reach your goal. So I like to suggest reviewing at the beginning of each month what your goals are and what your goals were. You want to have that sales meeting on a regular basis to help you celebrate when you hit or exceed those goals as well. And if you don't meet those goals or you don't exceed those goals, giving you that opportunity to reflect and understand why you missed those marks. Now, when it comes to tracking progress for your reviews, I like to use a simple review tracking system. And consistent reviews, we know, are proof of performance. We know that means our event management team are doing a great job. And it's important for us to keep a running log of new reviews, how many star ratings we got, especially if it was less than a 5-star review, and any reviewer mentions, again, calling out those specific team members by name. We have a great tool at Venue Help Desk, the review tracker, to simplify this process and visualize growth over time. And I'll be sure to put a link to that in today's episode notes. Now, lastly, I think it's really important when you come down to tracking your progress, whether it's in your conversion rates with your tours or it's within the number of reviews you have, is you want to automate that system. So for sales, look at your CRM first, see what tools they give you to be able to create that seamless data analytics and reporting. And then when it comes to reviews, automate that review request process. So your CRM may have the opportunity to give you that automated feature where you can send out an auto email after the wedding is over. So big wrap up for today. When you make progress visible, when you recognize your team consistently, and you track where it truly matters, you really turn celebration into your venue's strategy. And the real goal is to replace this idea in your head of next task mode with look how far we've come. right? You're including these look how far we come moments that really are going to fuel and energize your people. It's going to build your culture, and it's going to help you continue success through the busiest of seasons. That's it for today's episode of the Venue Helpline. I want to thank you so much for listening, for calling in with your requests. We love helping you tackle these real life frustrations. But before you go, there's one last thing that I want to share with you. As we're here in this busy season, you're listening to the Venue Helpline podcast. I want to make sure everyone listening is taking action. I want you to grab our reviews bundle tracker and email templates that go with today's episode. So you'll be able to head over to our shop. You'll find the link to our shop in today's episode notes.